Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to go over the Epiphone Texan. And I know that there are a lot of you out there who are following the channel for the tech reviews and aren't much into guitars, and I completely understand that. Just know that the tech reviews are coming, okay? I do have some plans, and those videos will be coming. But I did just get my 65 Epiphone Texan back from having the saddle replaced, and wow, it sounds great. And I wanted to do a video on the Texan for quite some time, but without having my Texan to play and show you guys, I really didn't have anything to go by, so that's what was putting this video off for so long. And of course, that's the reason why it's kind of overlapping into the time, that I want to do some tech videos for you all who follow me for the tech. So I am going to try to keep this video short, and I will post somewhere in here where you can go right to the guitar playing if you want. If you just want to hear what the guitar sounds like, I'll post that here somewhere. But in this video, I'm basically going to give you a little bit of history on the Texan, on Epiphone, and when I say a little bit, I'm talking, very little. J.P. Cormier does an outstanding job of telling all about Epiphone's history, especially with Gibson purchasing them. So don't go away. We come back, we're going to go over the Epiphone Texan. As I said earlier, I'm going to post here where you can go right to the guitar playing. If you're watching just to hear what, the Texan sounds like. And remember, my guitar is a 1965. So it's 57 years old. There's a lot of age on that soundboard. And of course, even in everything else. But the guitar is, old. And it's going to have a drier sound and a more mature sound. And of course, that's what everybody's looking for when they get a guitar, especially an all solid wood guitar. And again, that's why I love all solid wood guitars. So basically what it is Epiphone started out building violins and kind of like mandolins. And they moved to the United States. I think it was in New York somewhere. And they started making guitars too. And a lot of their guitars were the arch top with the F-holes in it. And Noah has one of those too. And that thing sounds great, for being a guitar with, F-holes in it. Now, of course, that guitar has the laminated maple back and sides. It's got a solid Sitka spruce top on it, ebony fingerboard, ebony bridge. It's a beautiful guitar with an awesome sound. If you want to hear what that sounds like, I think it's on my Life Post Stroke channel. I might even have it on this channel as well. Go check that video out if you want to see what that guitar sounds like. So basically what happened was Gibson purchased Epiphone so they couldn't compete directly against Gibson, because remember, Epiphone was making some very high quality guitars. And again, they were pretty much a direct competitor against Epiphone. And when Epiphone was purchased by Gibson, some of the people that worked at Epiphone, they were the ones that went out and actually started the Guild Guitar Company. So there you go. There's a lot of history there. But again, Gibson purchased Epiphone and they started making the Epiphone guitars right alongside of all their Gibson guitars, using the same materials, the same processes, the same people. So those guitars, right up until right about 1970, when they shipped the Epiphone guitars overseas, all of those guitars that were being made here in the Kalamazoo plant were of high quality. Okay, so if you were a musician looking for a quality guitar, you did not overlook Epiphone, because again, they were very good acoustic guitars. As a matter of fact, I think Gibson pushed the Epiphone more over in Europe, and a lot of those singers like the Beatles and that usually had, Epiphones as opposed to the Gibson counterpart. In the Epiphone lineup, you could pretty much find all of the Gibson guitars in an Epiphone version of it. I think the Epiphone versions were more Western related looking kind of, and that's of course just my opinion, but again, that's going to be all the history I'm going to give on it. I want to go over the specs real quick. I'm going to give you the specs for both the guitars made here in the United States and the guitars made overseas. Now, the master-built Epiphone that's made in Indonesia has the Texan body shape. The body materials are solid mahogany. The top is solid Sitka spruce. The back is solid mahogany, and the sides are solid mahogany. Now, as far as the neck goes, the neck material, again, mahogany. It's got a slim taper C-shaped 60s profile C-shaped neck profile. Scale length on that is 25.5 inches. The fretboard is Indian Laurel. Fret count is 20 frets. The frets are medium jumbo. Nut material is Graphtec or New Bone. The nut width is 1.69 inches or 43 millimeters. And the inlays are mother of pearl. They are not plastic. They are actually made out of mother of pearl. And they are the parallelograms. They're not the split parallelograms, but, well, I'll show you on my guitar. I'm going to be putting in a lot of B-roll here. And the neck joint, or neck to body joint, that is a glued in dovetail, okay? And again, it's a compound dovetail, but it's the same kind of dovetail that you're going to find in a Martin, Gibson, all the other high quality guitars. The hardware on the guitar, the nut is made out of that New Bone material. The saddle is made out of bone. The pins are, I think they're plastic. It does have an adjustable truss rod. It has now the machine tuners, 3 on each side, and it does come with 2 strap buttons on it. The electronics are the Fishman Sonocore, and the controls are the Fishman Sonocore sound hole mounted volume and tone. Output jack is 1/4 inch. And I forgot to mention, the price for the guitar over in Indonesia is $7.99. Now, that's their list price. You may be able to find some deals on it, but that is what their list price is on the website. So let's go ahead and go over to the Epiphone made here in the United States. Right away, I'm gonna tell you that the price on that guitar is $2,850. Noah paid, geez, almost that for his Gibson. So again, you're looking at the price right around the same as what you would pay for the Gibson counterpart. I'm going to go over the specs that they have here. Body shape again, Texan. Body material, solid mahogany. The top, solid spruce, and that of course is Sitka spruce. The back and sides again, solid mahogany, and I'm pretty sure it's African mahogany. Bracing, traditional hand scalloped X bracing in that. Now I don't know about the bracing in the guitars coming from Indonesia, but I know Noah's J200, his bracing is scalloped in that. It has a multiply binding on it, again, just like the one coming from Indonesia. Here's another difference. The body finish in the one from here in America is the gloss nitrocellulose lacquer. Now, the finish on the guitars coming from Indonesia, I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I do know it feels pretty thin, and it looks good. The only difference in the finish on there, at least from your eye point of view, is the Texan coming from the United States is just clear. It's just a clear finish. But the one coming from Indonesia, they kind of put like just a color tint to the top to make it look aged. And I kind of like that look. The neck material in the one built here in the United States, mahogany neck. It's a round D shape. So a little difference in the profile from the one in the United States and the one over in Indonesia. Scale length, it's still 25.5 inches. The fingerboard material is Indian rosewood. Now, here's the difference where we get between the one here and the one made overseas. Of course, that's Indian laurel, and this one is Indian rosewood is what they're calling it. There are 20 frets on the Texan built here in the United States. It has a bone nut as opposed to the Graphtec on the one built in Indonesia. Nut width is 1.73 inches. The inlays on it, mother of pearl, single parallelogram, just like the ones on the other guitar. Again, the joint, they call it a compound dovetail neck joint. Saddle material is bone. The bridge pins are made out of tusk, which is basically a type of really, really hard plastic. I don't mind the tusk pins, but for my money, I like either the ebony pins or bone pins. So that would be something I would be changing out later on. Another one of the differences on the one made in the United States as opposed to the Texan made over in Indonesia are the electronics. And it comes with LR bags, the VTC system, and the controls are volume and tone controls, again, in the sound hole. You also get a case with this guitar. You don't get a case with the one from Indonesia. And again, accessories, it comes with Gibson strings. So there are the specs on the guitar. Like I said earlier, the FT79 was produced by the Epiphone company starting in 1942. The body shape on their Texan before it was purchased by Gibson was not what you see today, like my guitar. Kind of in between like the Dreadnought and the OM size. The Texan that we all know today, that did not come about until Gibson purchased them. And then Gibson made it basically a slope shoulder Dreadnought, just like their J45. And I went over that earlier. They basically just call it something else. Longer scale length, really thin neck. The nut width on this guitar is 1 9/16 inches. It is thin. I love it. I wish every guitar I owned had this neck profile and this nut width. But I have small hands, and it works for me. Somebody with larger hands, no, it doesn't like it. Well, it's not that he doesn't like it. It takes a while to get used to, especially if you're playing with a standard size Gibson or, like his Epiphone with the, more standard size neck. It takes a while to get used to. Also, the guitars that were made in New York by Epiphone before Gibson bought them, they were actually made out of walnut. So if you happen to have one of those guitars before Gibson purchased them, that guitar is actually made of walnut. So, I kind of thought walnut was a new wood, species that was being used today because, rosewood and mahogany was getting harder and harder to find. But to be honest with you, man, they were experimenting with walnut a while ago. I just basically wanted to kind of give you an idea of what the differences are between what I have, which was the original Texan, and the new one. And to be honest with you, the only real difference between the old Texan and the new Texans, mine has the Brazilian rosewood fretboard and bridge. The ones that you get nowadays, they're the Indian rosewood. Okay, so the SD card actually ran out right mid-sentence. So basically where I left off, I was talking about the differences between the older Epiphones that they made like in 1965 and the newer ones that they're making today, both in the Bozeman, Montana plant and in Indonesia. The differences are small, but if you look at the neck, again, the neck profile on this, really, really small. 1 9/16 inch nut. Very, very narrow. I happen to like that. The ones that are being made today, a lot wider. And the scale length is still the same. It's 25.5 as opposed to like Martin's 24 3/4. And I think even Gibson's J45 is 24 3/4. So it has a longer scale length. Other than that, it's still using mahogany back, mahogany neck, all solid wood, and they're using Sitka spruce on the top. The new ones that are being made today completely eliminated this adjustable saddle, which is, I think, a very good idea. I don't like the sound of the adjustable saddle. I really think it detracts from the sound of this guitar. It uncouples the saddle from the bridge and the guitar, and what's transferring the sound from the strings to the top are these adjustment screws right here. That's what the saddle's connected to. So there you go. What do you say we go ahead and do a sound sample? The strings that we're using. We are using the Elixir 8020 bronze, and I think these are NanoWeb. Yep, these are the NanoWeb, and gauge is 12 to 53. Those are what we use, and also sometimes we will use Diodero strings, okay? My favorite strings are the Elixir. So what do you say we go ahead and give you a sound sample? I'm just going to putz around with it a little bit. Again, you know, I have my stroke issues, and I hate to bring this up because I know some of you out there are like, why do you always bring up a stroke? Again, I'm not going to be able to do this guitar justice because of my second stroke. You know, I can't really control my right hand, but that does not keep me from enjoying playing guitar. So let's go ahead and see what this thing sounds like. Quickly, a G, C, D, A minor, play a E, and a G. Okay, so I pretty much went over the history, I think, pretty well. What we're going to do right now is we're going to switch over to Noah playing this guitar, and then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up because, man, if I don't, this is going to be a super long video, and I did not want a super long video. So let's go ahead and switch to Noah playing this guitar and show you guys what it really sounds like. We'll go ahead and switch to that now. You did one where you went down, 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 down. However, whatever you did.
But I decided to split that up into two parts.
See, that's what I thought. No, how you played it is the way it should be. That was wow. Now I had this to my shop and they replaced the saddle on it. Basically what happened was the rosewood saddle, this actually came with a rosewood saddle, and the rosewood saddle on my other one was getting mushy down on the G, B, and E string, and it was getting kind of clicky sounding. So I took it to my local guitar shop, Lanning Music, and he worked on the guitar and ordered me this bone replacement saddle and put it in, and he did a really good job at it. I'm going to tell you what, guys, Lanning Music, I highly recommend them. So, alright, well, I think I went over everything that I wanted to go over. I touched a little bit on the history of Epiphone and the Texan. I kind of gave you an idea of what you can expect out of the brand new ones, both from the American factory and the factory over in Indonesia. And I left you here what an original 1965 FT79N sounds like. Now, they make that guitar in two models. It's the FT79, and that, of course, is their burst model. And you have the FT79N. And I'm not a big fan of guitars with a burst, and that's just me. There are a few out there that I do like. But for me, I'm one of those purists. I kind of like to see the wood. I guess that's the whole me being a carpenter kind of coming out. I love to see, you know, the grain of the wood, you know, showing through, and the color, the different colors that wood has. One of the things I will say, if you've never seen mahogany that's been really highly polished, it's crazy, because as you turn it, it's got like a three-dimensional look. It's really pretty wood. It does have a really nice sound. The sound to me is warm and even-toned. And, you know, I am a big fan of rosewood. That's why I got my Recording King. The reason I got the RD328 was because I wanted a solid rosewood dreadnought. And, you know, well, I always wanted a Martin D28. Couldn't afford it. But Recording King gave me that chance to do that. And I love that guitar. But there's just something about a good mahogany dreadnought that just sounds beautiful. I'll tell you, what Epiphone is coming out with in their plant in Indonesia is just amazing, and I really don't understand why Gibson's letting them do it. Yeah, they have their master built lineup, and then they have their Inspired by Gibson lineup, and if you get a guitar out of those, you are not going to be disappointed at all. Again, they are just beautiful guitars, well made. Now, for me, I would probably get the guitar coming from Indonesia, and here's why. You're saving well over $1,500 by purchasing that guitar from Indonesia, and you are not losing anything in sound. Yeah, it's not going to keep its resale value like, you know, an original one made here in the United States will, you know, but so what? You're buying it so you can play a really good sounding and good looking guitar. You know, there you go. Alright, that's pretty much all I have. I tried to be as in-depth as I could with it without making this long, and it's going to be a long video. I got a lot of editing to do. It's going to be a lot of this being scrap on the floor, if you know what I mean. So again, that's all I have. I want to thank you all again for watching, and tech videos are coming. But that's it. I'll see you all on the next one.